I should calm down. And that I'm overthinking everything about you. And that we're good the way we are. But I don't know that much about you. What things you like and what you don't. It's not that long since I met you for the first time. You know we should work it out. You know we should work it out. Before I'm too invested, I should probably ask you all my questions, get to know you better. Like, can you be trusted? Will you take me for granted? And will you let me down? I know I'm feeling something for you. The way you look, the way you laugh, and how you move. It kinda makes me go crazy. But we should take it slow, work things out so you don't let me go when I come real close.
The first thing we're going to start for meal prep this week is in reverse. We are going to make our dessert because it is a crock pot recipe and it is a slow cooker cobbler. So we need to get that going so that it can cook while we put together the rest of our meal prep. So let me show you what is in our slow cooker cobbler. You're going to need some yellow sugar-free cake mix. This is the last time you'll be seeing sugar-free cake mix on my channel. I decided to go ahead and make this recipe because it sounds delicious and I'm slowly weeding out sugar-free in general. So we're gonna be using a box of that. Lakanto monk fruit sweetener, arrowroot powder, and this is in replacement of cornstarch. This is a much more natural, healthy version to cornstarch. So we're gonna be using that as our thickening agent. And for fruit, I'm gonna be doing cranberries and this triple berry medley that has blueberries, blackberries, and raspberries. You'll also need some vanilla extract, and I'm going to be using my Melt Organic butter. This is a plant-based butter. It is a lot higher in points than I Can't Believe It's Not Butter, but I will let you guys know the point difference at the end, and I will put down in the recipe below using light butter and using regular plant-based melt butter. So let's get started on our slow cooker cobbler. So to get started on our cobbler, we're gonna go ahead and either spray our crock pot or put in a liner, whatever your preference is. To that, we're gonna add in our 6 cups of fresh or frozen fruit. Now you can use either fresh or frozen. I just happen to have these cranberries left over in my freezer from the holidays, and I just think frozen fruit is a little bit better for this recipe, but really you could do either one. So we're just gonna kind of mix our frozen fruit together, those cranberries and those berries. To that, we're gonna go ahead and add in half of a cup of our monk fruit sweetener, just right over the top of our berries. And we're also going to add 1 tablespoon of arrowroot or cornstarch to our cobbler, and then a teaspoon of vanilla extract. And then you're just gonna take a spoon and get that nice and mixed together. You wanna make sure those berries are coated really well with the sugar, the vanilla, and the arrowroot, because that is what's going to make it nice and thick and gonna help those berries cook down and make that cobbler-like consistency. So next we need to mix together the actual cake portion of our cobbler. So in my bowl here, I have my box of sugar-free cake mix. To that, I'm adding my 3 tablespoons of my melted butter, and then we're just gonna mix this together until it is nice and combined. And I get a lot of questions on measuring out butter. I recommend using a food scale rather than putting your butter directly into a measuring spoon. That way you can just measure it by grams and have perfect amount. So that's what I did. I just put 42 grams worth of butter here in a little bowl and melted it in my microwave. So we're gonna get this nice and combined, and then we're gonna sprinkle this over the top of our fruit mixture. This looks so good. We are just going to pop our lid on And then we are going to put this on low, and we're gonna let this cook down for 3 to 4 hours, or just until the mix is nice and cooked through and our berries look nice and softened. The slow cooker cobbler is done. You guys, this smells so good. The topping is still really soft. I don't know if you can see that, but it's cooked completely through. So for this cobbler, I'm going to put it into a storage container once it cools a little bit. And let's go over the smart points. So this makes 12 servings, about 3/4 of a cup per serving. That does include this yummy cake topping here on the cobbler. And even using the melt plant-based butter versus light butter, it did not change the smart points. And that's just due to the number of points in the butter versus the number of servings. So check always if you can use a whole food or a clean food instead of a light or fat-free version, and see if it even affects the smart points. So on all plans, whether you follow green, blue, or purple, 3/4 of a cup or 1/12 of this amazing berry cobbler with cake topping is 4 smart points. So I can't wait to have this for dessert. Again, I probably won't eat a lot of the cake topping. My husband can have that, but the berries are thick, and oh, I'm so excited. For breakfast this week, I'm going to be making a blueberry pancake French toast bake. French toast and pancakes together sounds delicious. So let me show you what is in this week's breakfast. You're going to need some pancake mix. I'm gonna be doing this Birch Benders Paleo. Milk or milk alternative of your choice. Down in the description box, I'm going to have the points using fat-free half and half and almond milk, and then points with the ingredients that I'm showing, because the points are going to vary a little bit. But I'm going with the organic 0% milk fat milk, Lakanto monk fruit sweetener, Sucrin Gold brown sugar alternative. You'll also need some flour. I'm going to be using full fat half and half. And I'm also using the melt plant-based butter versus light butter. You'll need cinnamon, vanilla, salt. I have some organic blueberries here, and you'll also need some eggs. So let's get started on this week's breakfast. So the first thing that we need to do is put together the pancake mix and make our pancakes. So again, I'm using the Birch Benders Paleo. I have 2 cups here. To that, I'm going to add 2 cups of water. So there's 1, and I'll grab 1 more cup, and we're just gonna stir this together until we have a pancake batter. So to make our pancakes, I don't have a griddle because I really don't make pancakes very often. So I'm just gonna use a pan here. I have some nonstick cooking spray. I'm just gonna go ahead and spray that in the bottom. And then I'm just going to use a 1/2 cup measuring cup here and my mix, and I'm just going to put my pancakes directly into my pan here. They don't have to be perfect pancakes. They don't have to be the same size, because we're making a bake out of these, and we're gonna divide that bake into the servings regardless of the size of the pancakes. So go ahead and add your pancakes to your pan or your griddle, and we're gonna get these cooked down and ready to go. All right, we're ready to start putting together this pancake bake. So here are my not so pretty pancakes, but again, it's going to be all layered in a baking dish and with the French toast ingredients, so you're not even gonna see them. So the first thing I'm going to do is take my pancakes, and I'm just going to layer them in the bottom of my dish. If you make larger pancakes, you'll want to cut your pancakes in half. I just decided to go ahead and do the smaller pancakes just to make it a little bit easier when I do go to layer them here in the bottom of my baking dish. I will probably end up, breaking pieces off to fill in gaps, because you do want to have, a little bit of pancake in every bite. So let's get these pancakes in the baking dish, and then we'll move on to making the egg mixture. Before we make the egg mixture, we're gonna add our blueberries. So I'm just going to put those right on top of the pancakes. Just get them as even as you can. The recipe calls for 1 cup of blueberries. That's exactly what I did. This is looking delicious already. So we'll put together the egg mixture next. So I went ahead and cracked 6 eggs here in my bowl. That way, if you pre-crack them, you don't have to worry about getting any shells. And then we're gonna add just about a teaspoon of vanilla extract. And I have 1/2 of a cup of my monk fruit sweetener. And I have 2 cups of the organic non-fat milk. And then I did 1/2 of a cup of full-fat grass-fed 50/50. So we're gonna add that, give this a nice whisk together until everything is combined. So we're ready to pour our egg mixture here over our pancakes. So let me go ahead and turn that, there we go, so you guys can see. So there's our pancakes, and then here is our whisked together egg mixture. That's going to go right on top of the pancakes and the blueberries. And then the next thing we're going to assemble is the French toast portion of our breakfast. But oh my gosh, this is already looking so good and creamy from that 50/50. I am not sorry about using 50/50 at all. So I'm gonna set this aside and let's put together the French toast portion. For the French toast portion, we're essentially making a crumble that we're gonna put on top of the pancakes. So we have 1/2 of a cup of all-purpose flour. We also have 1/4 cup of the Sucrin brown sugar. I went ahead and melted 2 tablespoons of the Melt plant-based butter, which is a little less than the recipe called for. And then we're gonna do a pinch of salt and lastly some cinnamon. And I say add as much cinnamon as you'd like. It's so good for you and it adds just a ton of flavor. And then we're just gonna mix this together until we have a crumble. And the reason I lowered the amount of the butter is just to help on the smart points. And look, this is plenty. Actually, I think more butter than that would have prevented this from forming a crumble. So I'm actually really glad that I opted for the 2 tablespoons of the butter. So we're just gonna mix this together until we have a crumble and it'll go on top of our pancakes. So here is our crumble. It's perfect with those 2 tablespoons. And then I am just going to sprinkle that over the top of the pancake bake. So I went ahead and finished sprinkling over the crumb topping. You guys, look how amazing this looks. I'm going to cover this with saran wrap and it's going to go in the fridge for 2 hours. It needs a chance to really soak up that egg mixture. So we're gonna return back to this. Well, it won't be for you guys, but I'll return back to this after I prep for lunch, but it'll all flow together for you guys here in the video. So I'm gonna get this covered and into the refrigerator. I just pulled our pancake French toast bake out of the fridge. I'm gonna throw this in a 350-degree oven for 50 to 60 minutes or until it's cooked completely. You'll know because you won't see any more liquid egg left. It'll all be absorbed and cooked fully through. I just pulled breakfast out of the oven. Doesn't this look absolutely amazing? It smells so good. This makes 8 servings, so I'm gonna go ahead and let this cool a bit before I cut into it. I am just gonna put it in one of my meal prep bowls because I'm going to pair this with eggs, and they're right now, actually my eggs are in my Instant Pot, so I'll just pair that with 1 or 2 hard-boiled eggs each day depending on how hungry I am, and then an apple. So let me let this cool for a few minutes. I'll cut this into servings and I'll be back to show you breakfast and give you the smart points. All right, so here is breakfast. Sorry for my Instant Pot noise in the background. Oh, there we go. So it is 1/8 of the blueberry pancake French toast bake. You guys, this looks so good. I mean, look at that blueberry, thick and delicious. You can pair this with some maple syrup, whether that be regular or sugar-free. You could dust a little powdered sugar on there. I mean, or you could just eat it plain because it has a ton of flavor. So let's go over the smart points. So if you were to use fat-free 50/50 and almond milk or Fairlife or one of those really low point milks, it is 5 smart points per serving on both the blue and purple plan, and then it is going to cost you 7 points on the green plan. If you make it how I made it with all of the organic ingredients, so the full fat 50/50 and the organic non-fat milk, it is going to cost you just 1 point more, you guys, for better ingredients. So 6 smart points on both blue and purple and 8 on green. You can't beat it. And then I'm literally pairing mine with one of my organic Gala apples. These are so good. I got these at Costco, delicious, and 1 to 2 hard-boiled eggs. So my full breakfast, the way I made it, is going to be 6 smart points on the blue plan. For lunches this week, I'm going to be making a sun-dried tomato cheesy meatball. I'm gonna have that with some quinoa and some veggies. So let me show you what is in this week's lunches. For the meatballs, you're going to need some sort of binder. So I'm gonna use this ground lupin that I picked up at Costco. This is supposed to be a great binder. So I'm excited to give it a try. This is literally, you guys, made from chickpeas. Let me show you the ingredients. It says ingredients lupin, but it is from the same family as chickpeas and lentils. So essentially it's a legume that is similar to a chickpea or a lentil in that same family. So I'm gonna use that as my binder. We'll also need some minced garlic, sun-dried tomatoes. If you pick up the ones that aren't in oil, they're 0 smart points. You'll need some tomato paste, salt and pepper, oregano and basil. I also have some Parmesan cheese, eggs, and then I have 1 pound of grass-fed 93.7 organic ground beef. So that's everything for the meatballs. I'm going to be making some quinoa, and I'm going to make it in the Better Than bouillon, and that is going to be my liquid. So if you make your rice or quinoa in a broth, it adds so much flavor. So I'm gonna do that, and then I have these zucchini blend, this organic zucchini blend from Walmart, and I'm just going to divide that up for the week for my meal prep. So let's get started on lunch. So I'm gonna start by getting my quinoa cooked. So I have 1.5 cups of quinoa. To that, I'm going to be adding 3 cups of the made chicken Better Than bouillon. That's what I decided to do. It's 2 teaspoons of the Better Than bouillon with 3 cups of water. You just mix it together. Super easy. We're gonna go ahead and turn this on to high, and this is going to come to a rolling boil. We're gonna stir it, pop a lid on it, and let it cook. All right, we're gonna start our meatballs. So in my bowl here, I have my 1 pound of the 93.7 grass-fed beef. To that, I'm going to add 1 egg. And I'm also going to add my rest of my package here of the sun-dried tomatoes. It's a little less than the recipe called for, but that's all that I have left. So I'm just gonna go ahead and add that. This is what that ground lupin looks like that I showed you guys from Costco. So it literally looks like, it kind of resembles cornmeal. So I'm gonna add that, and that's going to be the binder. I'm gonna add my oregano. And again, do as much as you would like. It calls for about a tablespoon of oregano and a tablespoon, which is about what I have left, of basil. And then we're gonna go ahead and drop in a little bit of salt and also a little bit of pepper. I have my minced garlic here, and I just kind of wing it. It says 4 cloves, so that's pretty close to about the 4 cloves of the minced garlic. And then we're gonna add in 1/2 cup of grated Parmesan. That's what's gonna make these cheesy meatballs. And then lastly, I just have my tomato paste here. So I'm gonna go ahead and add in about a tablespoon of the tomato paste. Oh, I'm sorry, 4 tablespoons, what the recipe calls for. There's 1, 2, 3, and I love the 2, by the way, you guys. It's so easy to keep. And 4, and then we're gonna give this a mix, get this nice and combined, and then we'll be ready to roll out our meatballs. So I have my meat mixture mostly combined. I'll finish it off with my hands. I went ahead and sprayed my pan here with some of my avocado oil spray. I'm gonna roll out my meatballs. You can do 12 large meatballs or 24 small meatballs. I'm gonna go for the small meatballs. So let's get these rolled out and into the pan.
Life is a winding road, no telling where it goes. Driving through days and nights, won't stop for traffic lights.
And here are our meatballs. I actually ended up with more than 24. And I wanna let you guys know that this is the second time I've used this grass-fed beef. It is 93.7%. It has less grease than 96.4, and the flavor, there is no comparison for conventional ground beef and grass-fed. I will forever buy grass-fed beef. It is well worth it, I promise you. So I've got my meatballs here on the stove. We're just gonna let these cook through. My quinoa has almost gotten rid of all of the liquid. Once the liquid is absorbed, you're just gonna pull it off the heat and just let it stand for 5 minutes. And let's cook up these meatballs. So I'm going to be having 1/2 of a cup of quinoa each day. So I'm gonna go ahead and get those measured out and into my meal prep container. But that's a lot of quinoa, you guys, and it's the same smart points as rice and so much better for you. Look at how delicious these meatballs look. And like I mentioned, there is no grease in the bottom of this pan whatsoever. And this is a fattier cut of lean ground beef, but because it's grass-fed, not only does it taste better, but the grease is far less. So these are just about done, and then when these are done, we're gonna put together our meal prep. So I have my quinoa in my meal prep container. I'm gonna go ahead and add in my zucchini blend that I'm gonna be having as well while my meatballs continue to cook. All right, here's our meatballs. Look how amazing these look. I'm going to top it with some of my Skinny-ish Dish crock-pot marinara. I will link this recipe below because I showed you that I made it in the beginning of the meal prep. So this is gonna be perfect to have over the top of the meatballs. I ended up using 2 packages of the frozen organic zucchini. So let's top the quinoa with the meatballs and the sauce, and I'll show you my completed lunch.
Lights won't stop for traffic lights. And I really wanna know if I will ever figure out where the road goes. Even if I'm falling down, I will keep on.
So you can see each day that I'm going to have 4 of the meatballs, and actually I have some left, so I'll probably have those for lunch today. The recipe actually makes 6 servings, so it'd be 6 servings of 4 meatballs, and I ended up having 2 additional meatballs. And then I have my zucchini, my quinoa, and then lastly I just have some 0-point marinara here, and this is 0 points no matter how much you use. So I'm just going to add a little bit to the top of my quinoa and my meatballs. And then you can always add some additional cheese if you want when you go to warm this up. Just make sure you're accounting for those additional points. So I'm just going to plop on some marinara here, and then this portion of our lunch will be complete, and I'll be back to show you exactly what I'm having for my full lunch and give you the smart points. All right, here is my completed lunch. This looks absolutely amazing. So let me show you kind of what I'm having here. So again, I have my zucchini, my 1/2 of a cup of quinoa is 3 smart points, and then my marinara is 0. And on the screen here, I will put the smart points if you used 96.4 lean ground beef and the smart points using the 93.7 grass-fed. And that way you can decide what points value you want to take for lunch. But that is the main portion of my lunch, and I'm just going to pair that with some organic strawberries. That'll be my sweet treat. It'll be my fruit for the day, and these strawberries are amazing. So that is my lunch, you guys. So the points again were here on the screen. So here are some snack options for the week. Now I won't have these every day other than my Built Bar, but these are the snack options that I'm gonna have on hand for the week. So of course, starting with my Built Bar, this is the peanut butter. I've really been loving the peanut butter and the coconut almond. I feel like they keep me a little bit more full. Any of the ones with nuts. I haven't ordered the toffee nut yet, but I feel like for the extra smart point, it's well worth it because they keep you a little bit more full and satisfied with the extra protein, fiber, and fat. It really makes a difference in satisfaction. Now, with Built Bar and being clean food, the ingredients aren't terrible in Built Bar. There's a couple that I don't love, but for a protein bar, this is one of the best options for clean eating. It has the cleanest ingredients other than your RX bars, which are 8 or 9 smart points. So for the smart points and the ingredients, I'm still loving the Built Bar. Again, I'm gonna have the